Okay, good morning everyone. So today we are going to talk about solving linear equations with one term. Can someone raise your hand and tell me how you can solve a linear equation? Ashley.
Subtract, multiply, divide, or add.
Very good. So there are 4 different ways that we can solve with linear equations. In this type of problem, what would we do? Ashley?
Divide.
Divide. Very good. And what would we divide by, David?
5.
Very good. So we would take 5 and divide it on both sides. So, Michaela, our answer would be x equals what?
5.
5. Very good. So that is our answer to 5x equals 25.
Ooh.
Very good. So that's how we would solve a division problem. Now, let's say if we were going to have an addition problem. Let's figure that one out. Okay, so looking at this problem, we can tell that x is not by itself, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, in order for us to get x by itself, what do we need to do? Brittany.
Move the 6 to the other side.
So, how would we do that?
You'd have to subtract it.
Subtract. Subtract what?
12 from 6. 6 from 12.
Very good. So, we would subtract 6 on both sides. Very good. So, David, 12 minus 6 is?
6.
Very good. So, x equals, Michaela?
6.
Very good. So that is how we would do an addition and subtraction problem with solving linear equations with one term. Very good. Okay, we're going to do just 2 more as a whole, and then I'm going to have you guys do one by yourself. Okay? Okay, so now looking at this problem, what are we going to start with? By doing what? Michaela?
Division.
Division! Very good. And what are we going to divide by?
3.
3. Very good. So we are going to divide 3 on both sides. Very good, Michaela. So, Brittany, if we divide 3 on both sides, what will we get for our answer?
X equals 9.
X equals 9. Very good. So x equals 9. So 3x equals 27. Our answer is going to be 9. Now we're going to do one more problem, but we're going to do subtraction and see what we can do with that one. Okay, as we can see in this problem, x is not by itself. So, what do we need to do in order to get x by itself? Anybody? Michaela?
You have to move it.
Move it by doing what? Subtracting or adding?
Adding.
Adding, very good. And what are we going to add to both sides, David?
4.
No.
15.
Yes, very good. 15. So we are going to add 15 to both sides. Once we add 15 to both sides, what is x going to equal? Michaela?
19.
19! Very good, because 15 plus 4 is 19. Very good. Now do you see how we are getting x by itself? Does everyone understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Okay,
Yes,
so what we're
teacher
going to do is now
Courtney.
you have one problem to do by yourself, and once you are done, just sit quietly, then I'll ask you what you are going to do. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
No. Figure it out.
Quiet, please. Okay, you have 2 minutes, and go. Now remember, what are you going to do first?
That's wrong.
What are you going to do first in this equation? What do you think you should do first? Should you multiply, divide, or add or subtract?
Subtract.
You're going to subtract. That's right. You're going to add. Because in order to get x by itself, you have to add what to both sides?
6.
Very good. So once you add 6 to both sides, what do you get? So if we add 6 to both sides, what do we get? 18 plus 6.
Oh, what? 24?
Very good. So if we have 2x
That you weren't.
equals 24. Now, in order for us to get x by itself, now what are we going to do? Michaela?
Divide.
We're going to divide. Very good. What are you going to divide, David?
2.
You're going to divide 2 on both sides to get x by itself. So once we divide 2, what are we going to get? X equals what?
12.
12. Very good. So that is your final answer. Okay? Do we understand? Now, in order for us to understand how to solve these type of problems, I think that we need to understand terms. We also need to understand why we are doing each step. So I want everyone to get a piece of paper, and we are going to make a T-chart. So in this T-chart, the equation and steps are going to go on one side, words are going to go on the other side. So that is explaining in both ways how we can solve it and word it by solving an equation, okay? So if I gave you the equation 3x plus 3 equals 12. So looking at this problem, you can already tell that we are going to subtract, correct?
Correct.
What are we going to subtract?
3.
3, very good. So we are going to subtract 3 on both sides. And what's 12 minus 3?
9.
Very good. So in this step, we subtracted 3 on both sides. So how would we word that?
You just have to subtract the number.
The number,
without
but
the X.
is this a variable or is it a constant?
It's
A constant, very good, because the number is by itself. Remember, with a variable or any, a variable always has a number and a letter. But if it's just by itself, it's a constant. Very good. So we would subtract the constant of 3 on both sides with, of course, like terms. Because if we had 2 x's on both sides, we would combine the x's, right?
yes.
So we can say we will subtract the
That's fast.
constant
You have to write it down.
3 on both sides. So once we are done with that, so we explained what we did in this problem. So now, what is our next step going to be?
Solving for X.
Solving for x. Very good. So in order for us to solve by x, what are we going to do? Michaela? Michaela?
Divide.
We are going to divide. Very good. What number are we going to divide, David?
I don't know.
Okay, but remember, if we're getting x by itself, what number do you think we need to divide? Ashley?
No. 3.
3. Very good. We have to divide 3 on both sides in order to get x by itself. So in this process, what can we use in words to explain how we were going to solve for x? What did we do?
Divide by the variable number on each side.
Very good. So we can say we divided the variable 3 on both sides to solve for what?
X.
Very good. Solve for x. So once we divide 3 on both sides, what is our answer? Michaela? X equals what?
3.
3. Very good. X equals 3. So we can say our final solution is x equals 3. So whenever you're done finishing one of these problems, you will always say our solution is x equals 3. Okay? So we would write our solution is x equals 3. And that is our final answer and statement. Okay? So remember, when you're describing what we're doing, make sure you use code, like your terms, so variable, constant, and also if you're dividing, please let us know that you're dividing. So when you see these on a quiz or a test or an exam, you will be able to understand how to solve and also answer in words, okay? Because on certain tests, especially for like your proficiencies or for your placement tests, these will be on there. So whenever you see a T-chart, that means you're going to show your work on one side step by step and then words on the other, okay? So let's do one more and then we will be done for the day, okay? Quiet, please. Okay. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, so when you see 8x minus 4 equals 20, what is your first instinct to get x by itself? Brittany?
Add 4 to both sides.
Add 4 to both sides. Very, very good. So we'll rewrite the equation first. Of course, always rewrite the equation when you start answering your problem. So we are going to write 8x minus 4 equals 20. And as Brittany said, we will add 4 to both sides. Once we add 4 to both sides with 20, what is our answer? Ashley?
8x equals 24.
8x equals 24. Very good. 8x equals 24. So, how would we word this? David?
We will add the constant 4 on both sides.
Very, very good. So everyone says we will add the constant 4 to both sides. Very good. So now as we can see that x is almost getting by itself, what is the last thing that we have to do in this equation in order to get x by itself? Ashley?
Divide.
David, please don't talk out of turn. Ashley?
Divide by 8 on both sides.
Divide by 8 on both sides. Very good. So once we divide 8 on both sides and we are finally getting x by itself, what is our final answer? What is 24 divided by 8? Michaela?
3.
3. Very good. So x equals 3. So in order for us to understand what we just did, how can we word that? Ashley?
We divided the variable 8 on both sides to solve for x, and our solution is x equals 3.
Very good. So we can write, we divided the variable 4 on both sides to solve for x. And then, of course, after we did that, what is our solution?
X equals 3.
Very good. So our solution is x equals 3. Do we have any questions on how we can solve these type of linear problems? Ashley?
What's the difference between a constant and a variable?
Well, a constant is a number by itself. A variable will always be, let's see. A variable could always be 4x, 3x squared. It could be 8x. And then a constant is just a number by itself. So it could be -1, 3, 5, -7. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So a variable always has a number and a letter. Even if x is just by itself, if x is by itself, technically, what is that number in front of x? David? No, it's not. 0. 1, very good. Even if x is by itself, it still is technically 1x. Okay? Ashley?
What if one of the numbers was a negative?
For in here or?
Yeah, either or.
Okay. Well, if we would solve it normally, just like any other problem. So if I gave you x plus 3 equals -7, how would you solve for that?
Add 3 to both sides.
No, you wouldn't add 3 to both sides because it's addition already. You would what?
-3 from both
You would
sides.
subtract 3 on both sides. Very good. And what's -7 minus 3?
-10.
Very good. -10. Remember, if it's a negative, you are still adding, but it keeps a negative. Does that make sense?
So can you do one for a subtraction?
Yes. If I gave you x minus 8 equals -12, what would you do?
Add 8 to both sides.
You would add 8 to both sides. And what would you be left with?
-4.
-4. Why are you left with a -4?
Because -12 is not a positive.
And it's bigger than what?
It's smaller than 8.
It's bigger than 8. Well, yes, but the number negative is bigger. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes.
So if the negative number is bigger, it's always going to be negative. But if I
Okay.
gave you 12 minus 8, minus a -8, it would be
-16.
just a
Oh,
positive 4. Because the negatives would cancel out. And do you
Okay.
see what I mean?
yes.
So, because if the number is bigger.
Okay.
So if I gave you like 3 minus
That was your friend.
2, what is that?
1.
1, because it's a negative. The negative is smaller than the positive number.
Okay.
Okay? Anything else? No? Do we all understand how to solve linear equations with one term?
Yes.
Okay, so for homework tonight, I'm going to give you 10 separate problems on a handout that you have to do. Okay? And then you're going to bring it back tomorrow. It's actually on your in your folders, okay? For you to finish. Bring it back. I'm not going to grade you based on correct steps and correct work. I just want to see that you're showing me how to do it. There are about 4 different problems with the T-chart, so please make sure you show your work and you're using your words, okay?
Yes.
There are just a couple of problems just like this, which I'm sure you can breeze through very quickly, because these are very simple and you have learned them before. Yes, Michaela?
Tell me just one more that I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Okay, well, class is almost over. Ashley?
Are there going to be any negatives?
Yes,
or
there's
are you
about...
only doing positive?
Nope, there will be negatives on there, and also in these problems, so make sure you're stating whether you are adding or subtracting or multiplying a negative number. Yes, Ashley?
So we have to do a T-chart for every problem?
Nope, just for 4. And the T-chart's already made for you on the handout, so you don't have to make one. Okay? Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.